Hello there. Most films are made to entertain. Some films are made to educate. Very few films are made to challenge. Interstellar challenged me, haunted me, and consumed me for several days in the aftermath. By this time, you would have watched Interstellar. If you haven't, let me give you out the bits which are brain bending in the movie. In the movie, Cooper, the protagonist, sets off on an expedition to find a replacement to the planet Earth in a spaceship called the Endurance with some other people. All of them are roughly in their middle ages. He leaves his 10-year-old daughter Murphy on the Earth. By the virtue of the film script, their spacecraft gets closer to a black hole called Gargantua in a couple of instances. This slows down time for them. That is, in one instance, 1 hour for them is 7 years on the Earth, and in some other instance, they fall behind Earth by about 50 years. As a result, Cooper is still in his middle ages, whereas his daughter is about 100 years old when he gets back. A character in the movie says it's relativity, folks. I must confess that I didn't understand relativity really very well during my studies. I really wanted to understand this so that I can put the whole movie into some perspective. I really wish there was a second part for this movie. As there were no announcements like that, I imagined a continuation of this movie myself. I have done some reading and analysis on relativity, and I would like to share that with you to put the whole movie into perspective. Imagine this. Alice throws a ball with speed 10 kilometers per hour. What's the speed of the ball? Easy, it's 10 kilometers per hour. Now, Alice stands on a bus moving at 100 kilometers per hour and throws the ball at 10 kilometers per hour. What's the speed of the ball now? It's speed of the bus, 100, plus speed of the ball, which is 10. So total speed of the ball is 110. What if I say it's wrong? Even if the bus is moving at 100 km per hour or 1000 km per hour, the speed of the ball still remains 10 km per hour. Well, you can possibly put forth a clever argument. You can say, from Alice's perspective, it can be 10 km per hour. For example, if Alice throws the ball at Charlie, who is also in the bus, Charlie can comfortably catch the ball as the speed of the ball for him is 10 km per hour. But if Alice throws the ball to Bob, Bob, who is outside the bus, will struggle to catch the ball as it approaches him with the speed of 110 km per hour. Pretty much. Now, what if I say, even for Bob, doesn't matter if the bus is moving at 10, 100, 1000, 10,000 million kilometers per hour, the speed of the ball will still remain 10 kilometers per hour. The reasoning I give you is that the speed of the ball is hard-coded in the universe and cannot be changed. You won't buy it, will you? Interestingly, this strange phenomena happens with the speed of the light. If Alice flashes a torch, the speed of the light from the torch is exactly 186 miles per second as measured by both Alice and Bob. Of course, if they have some tool to measure the velocity of light. Even if the bus is moving at million kilometers per hour, light chooses to ignore that million kilometers and comfortably remains at constant speed for both Alice and Bob. The speed of light is solidly and deeply hard-coded in the universe somewhere. But still, how? It still doesn't make sense, does it? Something else has to change. What is changing? Let's take a deeper look. To keep the speed of the light constant, perspective of time changes. In other words, Alice's watch adjusts. It runs slower compared to Bob's watch to respect constant nature of speed of the light. 1 second for Alice is longer than 1 second for Bob from Bob's perspective. This is called time dilation. Yes, the speed of the light is a rule. Is this rule causing the time dilation? Well, I couldn't find any solid and convincing explanation beyond what I just said. I relied on little physics I know, my common sense and intuition to increase my satisfaction with this explanation. Thanks to Einstein for giving us an imaginary fabric called space-time continuum to understand this intuitively. Whole universe is filled with an imaginary fabric called space-time continuum. You can imagine this like an endless trampoline. Anything with mass will cause depression on this fabric. When this depression is caused, if any other object gets closer to the depression caused by it, it will be pulled towards the depression. We experience this pull every day. We call this gravity. So anything with mass can have gravity. It can be a coffee mug or a computer mouse, literally anything. With increase in mass, the depression caused on the trampoline is deeper and hence gravitational pull will be stronger. Now you know why gravity is so weak on the moon as seen in the movies, because moon is smaller compared to the earth. As this fabric is woven with threads called space and time, the depression caused by it warps the space and the time. The change to the time caused is called time dilation. This explains why when Cooper's spaceship gets closer to the black hole, the time in Cooper's perspective gets slowed down dramatically so that minutes for him are like years on planet Earth. That's because black hole is a place in space where gravity pulls so much that even light cannot get out of it. So you can imagine the depression it causes in space-time fabric will be massive. Okay, but what about speed of light example above? In the above example, when Alice's bus accelerates, the mass of the bus increases. Why? Mass is nothing but packaged energy in physics. When the speed increases, the total energy of the bus is mass of the bus plus kinetic energy created by the speed of the bus. So, if Bob measures the mass of the bus when it is moving, he sees an increase in mass compared to the stationary bus. As you know, increase in mass means deeper depression on the fabric and hence slower time. I am more than happy to be contradicted with better explanations on this, as I relied on little physics I know and my intuition to come up with this explanation for time dilation for velocity. Can we physically experience time dilation? Answer is yes and no. We experience time dilation every moment, but we need sophisticated atomic clocks to measure it and see it. People did experiments with atomic clocks. Couple of experiments. 2 atomic clocks set to the same time, one taken on a world tour. By the time the clock returned home, the time in the clock travel is different to the clock sitting in the lab. In another experiment, out of 2 identical clocks, one clock is left in the lab and the other one taken to the top of the mountain. The change in gravity showed time dilation, that is, 2 atomic clocks showed different times. All this perception of time is comfortably sitting within the periphery of modern science and is brain shattering. What it means is 1 second for a person sitting on a faraway planet can be 100 years for me. That is, my whole lifetime from birth to death is just blink of his eye. Or, in the blink of my eye, there can be people who experience their full lifetime on a completely different planet. Hope you'll excuse my liberty to extend the story of this masterpiece. Interstellar Part 2. Mankind finds exact Earth-like planet and colonizes it. They name it the Altar. 1 minute on the Altar is a year on Earth. In million years on the Earth, a new conscious race begins to spring back, this time with one eye. In the Altar, Cooper fights really hard to get a budget approved for a project to go to the Earth and pass all the knowledge to one-eyed race on the Earth. He argues that if the Altar can steer the one-eyed race on the Earth, eventually Earth catches up and advances much beyond the Altar. It's because in 1 minute on the Altar, Earth can do 1 year worth of research and advancements. The Altar can then leverage the advancements on the Earth after some point. In fact, after a few days. After Cooper reaches Earth with his team, to his shock, the one-eyed race is at very low in intelligence levels to decipher the knowledge. Cooper realizes his mistake. The one-eyed race on the Earth is in the beginning stage of figuring out language to communicate. They are about 10,000 years early, which is just few days on the Altar. Only option they have now is to make sure that they create knowledge base on the Earth which can sustain for about 10,000 years so that the one-eyed race can make sense out of it and steer it in the direction which can help the Altar. They use few techniques to achieve this. Protagonist and his team start by teaching them language. They train one-eyed race to use leaves from special trees to record all the knowledge. This is because they understand those leaves with specific treatment can be sustained for several thousands of years. They also build massive structures and record the knowledge in the form of murals. They also translate knowledge into poems. They introduce religion, worship, and fear. They established that the knowledge poems must be recited during the rituals. Fear is a powerful form of knowledge transfer to the next 10,000 years. Teaches several experiments to be performed as part of rituals. Cooper spends 40 years on the earth before returning to the altar. After some days on the altar, which is like few millenniums on the earth, he observes that one-eyed race on the earth already begins to decrypt all the knowledge from murals, scriptures, and rituals. Something catches Cooper's attention. He zooms in and sees unusual, enormous construction. Zooming further in, Cooper scrunches his eyebrows to see his own statue being worshipped as God. Thank you.